Saint Thomas Aquinas. He lived in the 13th century and he is the patronage of academics, universities, scholars. And he was born to an aristocratic family in southern Italy. And he wanted to become a mendicant friar. But there was opposition against it also by his own brothers. They locked him up for a year that he might maybe change his mind, but he didn't. In 1244, he joined the Dominican order. Now, and he vowed to serve God by getting inspirations in deep prayer about theological scholarship. So he wanted to do many things about theology. And he did it then, and he was sometimes dictating to 4 people at the same time. He wrote the Summa Theologica, and on that, many doctrines of the Roman Catholic Church are based on. A big book that he wrote, the Summa Theologica. Then at one time, he had in 1272, he had a vision so strongly that he said all what he has written previously was like straw to it. But he eventually died then just 2 years later. And sometimes if he's pictured in art, his way of getting these inspirations, these ideas which are told are coming from God, are then pictured in these paintings through a dove coming to him. A bird and a dove. Now, and he also worked on a system of celestial spirits, on angels. And he said there were three hierarchies with 9 orders. And the closest order to humans, the ninth order, were guardian angels. And they were the essence of disembodied intelligence. And now, then he had the idea that these guardian angels, every human receives one at birth, and they are trying to guide them and protect them towards salvation. And another thing, in his religious things, he tried to put down in his Summa Theologica or other writings, theological works, he tried to explain the Christian faith belief things and tried to defend them and how they are right against other things like the ideas of Islam or Judaism or heresy or pagancy. Now, and the system of angels, there's no said that these guardian angels, people cannot communicate with them, not directly, they can only do it through prayer. And these guardian angels, they cannot directly have an influence on humans, but they can have an influence on that which people call intuition. And also they can stir up images in the imagination, did he argue, and also that they can take an outwardly visible form. And that is according to Malcolm Day's A Treasury of Saints book on the page 24 and 25. If you click this video away, then please tell me what the reason was so that I can improve. Otherwise, hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn Biographyology to date Saint Thomas Aquinas, and after we've done that, we're gonna do leg injury prevention training. And if you participate in the leg injury prevention training, then it's at your own risk. This is the second part. We're gonna go over the text and gather together the informations which we want to say from memory, and then we try to do it. Saint Thomas Aquinas lived in the 13th century. Feast day is the 28th January, and he is the patronage of academics, students, universities, publishers, and booksellers. So booksellers, publishers, academics, students, and universities. Known as the Angelic Doctor, outstanding medieval theologian who drew up a comprehensive theology of the Christian faith. He drew up a comprehensive theology of the Christian faith. The dumb ox was the nickname given by contemporaries to this large, quiet man, thought to be a little slow of mind. It turns out that the intellect of Thomas Aquinas matched his physical size. He had a great intellect. As his mentor Albert the Great perceived, his lowing would soon be heard throughout the world. He was born in an aristocratic Italian family near Aquino in the south, and his university aspirations to be a Median friar who would live by baking alms were not well accepted. I don't really know what it means, aristocratic, but he was born into an aristocratic family in the southern part of Italy near Aquino. Southern part of Italy near Aquino. Thomas Aquinas near Aquino. It's not the same word. but it could be from the same word, Aquina. And he wanted to become a mendicant friar. I think the word friar had been 2 or 3 times before. I don't know what it means, but it must be something in a Christian community. Indeed, he was pursued by his own brothers and locked up at home for a year to make him come to his senses. However, he could not be dissuaded, and he joined the Dominican order in 1244, when he was 19. Okay, he wanted, what did he do? He was born to an aristocratic Italian family, Aquino, St. Thomas Aquinas, 13th century. He wanted to be a mendicant friar, a mendicant friar. There was opposition against that. He was even locked up by his own brothers for a year to change his mind. It didn't happen. And he joined in 1244 the Dominican order. Aquinas vowed to serve God by theological scholarship inspired through deep prayer. He considered that the fruits of the contemplative life should not be kept to oneself, but shared with others, and he put forth a torrent of theological insight, dictating, so it is said, to up to 4 secretaries at one sitting. And he had the idea. He wanted to do his theological scholarship inspired through God, reaching this inspiration in deep prayer. And then he was dictating what he received. And it is said to up to 4 people writing it down at the same time. At this time, Islamic scholars were espousing their religious ideas using the logic of ancient Greek philosophers such as Aristotle. Aquinas responded in kind. He defended the Christian faith and argued against Islam, Judaism, heresy, and paganism. This work was followed by his supreme exposition of a Christian standpoint, Summa Theologica, which ran to 5 volumes and covered such matters as God, creation, angels, human nature, happiness, sin, and virtues. It has been used by the Roman Catholic Church ever since as its standard statement of doctrine. At the same time, the ideas of Islam were brought forth by many people, and Thomas Aquinas tried to defend the ideas of Christendom against the ideas of Islam, or also of paganism and Judaism and heresy. And he wrote also a big book called Summa Theologica. And Summa Theologica, which is about God, angels, human nature, sin, happiness, virtues, creation, angels. God, creation, angels, happiness, sin, virtue. Human nature also, human nature. Okay, I try to memorize it, that's why. And on that a lot of Roman Catholic doctrines are based on. In 1272, while in Naples, he received a vision of God that was so overwhelming that he is reputed to have said that all he had written was like straw in comparison to what he had seen. He died soon afterwards of a stroke and probably exhaustion. So in 1272, 2 years before his death, he had a vision of which he said, which was so powerful that all what he had previously written was basically like straw or like nothing. He died soon afterwards. Of a stroke and probably exhaustion. A world of angels. Thomas Aquinas is famous for his system of celestial spirits. He perceived there to be 3 hierarchies of angels consisting of 9 orders. So are 3 times 9 or 3 with 9? He wrote a lot about celestial spirits of the angels. But there are many of them in different orders and hierarchies. The 9th and closest order to humanity are the guardian angels, and the closest one, the 9th one, are the guardian angels. Defined as essence of disembodied intelligence. Defined as essence of disembodied intelligence. I try to quote it. Essence of disembodied intelligence. He and the other church fathers thought that every person receives a guardian angel at birth. Their role is to protect and guide their charge and direct the soul to salvation. So basically, every person, the idea is that every person has a guardian angel assigned at birth, which accompanies them through life, so that they reach salvation. Although they cannot influence human will directly, they can do so indirectly by stirring up images in the imagination. So they can stir up images in the imagination. They can work on the human senses by outwardly assuming a visible form. So they can take contact with the middle form of other people. Or inwardly by what we term today as intuition. So through intuition, what a person feels as intuition, also can they take the personification, the embodiment of other people. Is it correctly? If it's not right, that would be a major mistake. By outwardly assuming a visible form, by taking the form of another person. And then, I'm still making the word, and then stepping to the other person, encountering the other person, meeting the other person, there's a purpose. And the stirring up of images in the imagination. People can communicate their thoughts and wishes to angels only through prayer. Angels would otherwise remain ignorant of them. And only through prayer is it possible, according to Thomas Aquinas, to address or to talk to them, or to, what did he say? To communicate thoughts and wishes through prayer. Patron of academics, St. Thomas Aquinas was often portrayed as receiving inspirations from the Holy Spirit in the form of a dove. I'm going to start the camera and try to say it out. Summa Theologica. Saint Thomas Aquinas. He was born to an aristocratic family in southern Italy, and he wanted to join, which later when he joined the Dominican order, he wanted to join something in the Christian faith, but he was opposed in that also by his own family. His brothers locked him for 1 year up to change his mind, but he didn't. He joined in the Dominican order in 1244. Now, he had the idea and the commitment to write down the ideas about theology from God, which he got through deep prayer, and during deep prayer from God, and to write them down and share it with the world. And he was doing that in deep prayer, and sometimes he was, it is said, able to dictate to 4 people, writing down what he was knowing then about theology. Now, and at the time there was also the idea of Islam going more greater, and he tried to defend the ideas of Christendom against Islam, Judaism, heresy, paganism. He wrote the Summa Theologica, which is a big book, or 5 volumes, and in that he's talking about God and human nature, sin, virtue, angels, creation. And on that book, many doctrines of the Roman Catholic Church are founded, or based on. And he also wrote a lot about angels here, and there he had the idea that there are hierarchies and orders of angels, and 9 orders of angels. And the 9th order of angels were guardian angels, and they were assigned to people and at birth, and guide them through, or be with them through life, and try to guide them to salvation. And that it is only possible for the person to communicate with them through prayer. And these angels, according to Thomas Aquinas, cannot come to direct contact with a person, but only through stirring up images in the imagination, and through taking the embodiment of another person, and also through what people term intuition. He had in 1274 such a big inspiration, is said, of which he even told that it was diminishing all what he previously read, even 2 years later when he died. And these angels were the essence of disembodiment of it, and of a human spirit, I think. And that is also then portrayed in the art, oftentimes through dove. It doesn't make sense. We're going to do it again. Maybe not this time. Intelligence. Essence of disembodied intelligence. This is a little bit much. I'm too much focused on the last 2 parts. I have probably to remember the beginning of our story, the easy part of the story. I don't think if you have time left, if I say it fast, I even forgot to say the patronage, so I was not able to concentrate on the first part of it. I think we're going to do it completely again, but we are able to make a very good presentation. I have it very good in mind. I'm just concentrated on the other parts, on the angel story and the other story of her Summa Theologica, and not on the easy things like his life story, which are just 2 sentences. That means I'm going to stop the camera. And we're going to continue the next part. The next part I'm going to do the presentation again. So that means if you are here for Biographyology, you can go directly to the next Biographyology part where we will do it. If you stay here and participate in the leg injury prevention training, we have just a little over a minute, then it's at your own risk. Have a good standing leg and swing the leg to the side and front. Other leg and front and to the side. And the foot in front and back. Other foot in front and back. And now one leg up, hands out, knee over to one side, hands over to the other one. Change. Middle and down. Other leg up. Straight. Middle and over. And down. And now the leg to the side and lift the leg up. Other one. And one leg in front, try to bring it higher. Pull it up. Other one. Pull it up. Legs wide apart, breathing it out. And out. In and up. Out and down. Breathing close the legs. And breathing out. Which was the shortened leg injury prevention training. I thank you very much, and until next time.